One pot, 20 minutes of open flame, then nothing. No fire, no fuel, no electricity for 6 more hours, and the stew inside keeps cooking. This is the Haybox, the Fireless Cooker homesteaders built to outsmart the woodpile. Firewood was not free. Every log came from hours of felling, hauling, and splitting, work that fell on top of everything else the season demanded. Every fire meant watching it, feeding it, and never leaving it unattended near a house built from timber and thatch. A homestead kitchen in the 1800s ran on a brutal arithmetic. The longer a pot needed to simmer, the more wood it burned, and the more wood it burned, the fewer hours remained for the fields, the animals, and the dozen other chores stacked up before dark. Slow-cooked stews, dried beans, and porridge, the very foods that stretched a family's food stores the furthest through a hard winter, were also the most expensive dishes to make, in labor and in fuel both. Cutting that cost without cutting the meal itself was not a convenience, it was survival math. And the answer that generations of rural households eventually landed on had nothing to do with building a better stove, it had everything to do with insulation. Picture a plain wooden crate, or sometimes an old trunk, packed floor to lid with hay, straw, wool scraps, or crumpled newspaper. Nestled into the center is a cavity, shaped to hold exactly one cooking pot, snug enough that almost no air can move around it. That is the entire device. No firebox, no flue, no coals glowing beneath a grate. A cook would bring a pot of stew, porridge, or dried beans to a full rolling boil on the open hearth for as little as 15 or 20 minutes, then lift it, still boiling, straight into that packed cavity and shut the lid. From the outside, nothing happens next. No smoke, no smell of wood smoke drifting from the box. A visitor unfamiliar with the household might assume the meal had simply been abandoned, forgotten in a crate of straw in the corner of the kitchen. But hours later, when that lid finally lifted, the pot inside would still be hot enough to serve, the beans fully softened, the stew fully finished, cooked entirely without a second stick of wood, a second match or a second minute of tending. No hovering, no stoking, just a box, sitting quietly in the corner, doing work that looked, to anyone watching, exactly like nothing at all. The mechanism is not magic, it is thermodynamics, the same physics now marketed inside a modern thermos. A pot pulled off the fire at a full boil is carrying enormous stored thermal energy, what engineers call sensible heat, energy held in the temperature of the food itself. Left in open air, that energy escapes fast, through convection as warm air rises off the pot, through radiation as heat leaves the metal surface, and through conduction wherever the pot touches something cooler. The Haybox attacks all three losses at once. Packed hay and straw are riddled with tiny trapped air pockets, and still air is one of the poorest conductors of heat available, which is precisely why it is used as insulation in modern attics and coats. Seal a boiling pot inside that dead air barrier, and heat has almost nowhere to go. The food does not need an external flame to keep cooking, because it is still well above the temperature required for the starches in the beans to soften, for the collagen in tough cuts of meat to break down, for a stew to keep gently finishing itself for hours, on nothing but the heat it carried in with it. Cooks of the era did not have the vocabulary of thermodynamics. They called it simply the retained heat method, and they trusted it enough to leave the evening meal unattended for an entire afternoon. The technique was not a fringe trick. Depending on the dish and the batch size, retained heat cooking has been measured to cut fuel use by 20 to 80%, which is exactly why, during both World Wars, when coal and firewood were rationed as strictly as sugar and meat, government-backed home economists urged households to build their own haybox from a packing crate and a sack of hay. Some models added heated soapstone or iron plates tucked beside the pot, holding the temperature even longer, and stretching a single boiling into a fully roasted dinner hours later. Cookbooks built entirely around the method circulated by the early 1900s, and U.S. Department of Agriculture publications treated it as a standard kitchen skill, not a novelty. By the Second World War, many American hayboxes were surrendered in scrap metal drives, yet the method stayed in daily use across parts of Europe well into the 1950s. It never fully disappeared. Off-grid households, campers, and low-electricity communities worldwide still build modern versions today, sometimes swapping straw for wool, but running on the exact same principle a homesteader would recognize instantly. So why did it fade? Partly the cook stove, then the electric range made an insulated box feel primitive by comparison. A relic instead of a shortcut, something to be embarrassed by rather than proud of. But the core problem the Haybox solved, cooking a full meal on a fraction of the fuel without watching a flame for hours, never actually went away. It simply stopped being visible, buried under a century of appliances that made fuel feel unlimited and free. Rebuilding one today takes almost nothing modern homesteaders don't already have lying around the property. Not a specialty tool, not a purchase, just the right box, the right insulation, and the right seal, arranged the exact way rural households worked out through generations of trial and error, long before anyone ever wrote the physics down. The full build, a boiling pot, a snug insulated box, a tight lid, and patience. No flame required after the first 20 minutes. That is the entire secret the Haybox was built on.